Okay, this video we are going to talk about the authentication mechanism through request library in Python. So what is authentication? So authentication is the act of validating that users are whom they claim to be. This is the first step in a security process. So if you are accessing a site, we need to log in with username and password that will check against the registration. uh, we would have registered it previously, uh, so it will check in the backend whether the username and password is available or not. So if that is matching, it is the you are authenticated. But authorization is authorization in system security is the process of giving the user permission to access a specific resource or function. This term is often used interchangeably with access control or client privilege. So authorization is if your app is trying to access the uh, your Google account, and you want to authorize certain Google Docs or something, or Google Images specific resources. um, you can authorize your app. So that process is called authorization. So authentication is different, authorization is different. So having said that, in HTTP we are trying to see auth methods. The first method is basic authentication. So prompt the user for authorization using HTTP basic auth. So if you want to try that, try it out. I just give some username and some password and execute. It will ask the, if I give different one, it won't allow me. I need to give the same username and password. So I'll get a response. This user 200 response, so it was successful. So how do we do this through our request library? For that, yeah, for that we can go here and we need to import the request, and also we need to import request.auth http basic auth. And here is what our request.get looks like. So here we need to give the API endpoint is basic auth. This is specific to http bin.org. So we need to give http bin.org basic auth, the user name and password. Username is user and pass I'm giving as pass. This should be always in HTTPS, otherwise this won't be encrypted, I believe, the URL. But the auth HTTP basic auth, we need to pass the user name and password, what we are passing here in the endpoint. So having said that, we can try to run this through debug. Yeah, it's reached here, it sent the request, and I just want to see what is the headers it has been set up. So if I go to response object, and in that request there is an object called request, prepared request, and what it has prepared, I just want these headers inside that and stored values. So here you will see an authorization header has been created by the get request itself. And if you want to see the endpoints would be path URL and URL. So there is an authorization created. So that is what I just want to share here. Authorization and proxy authorization headers. The authorization and proxy authorization request headers contains the credential to authenticate a user agent with a proxy server. Here the type is needed again, followed by the credentials, which can be encoded or encrypted depending on which authentication scheme is used. So this case our authorization is authorization. Basic is our type, and we are passing this token. We are not passing it. The request itself is creating this token and passing it, authorizing our this client or this program to http pin.org. And we can run step over. We got the status as 200, and the request URL was basic auth user slash password. This is one method, basic authentication method. And another method is bearer authentication. So bearer authentication, basic authentications, the RFP is this, RFC is this one. So if you want to read more on basic uh, authentication, this would be the right document to read. And what is, now we are going to talk about what is bearer token usage in authorization. So this specification describes how to use bearer tokens in HTTP request to access OAuth 2.0 protected resources. Any party in possession of a bearer token can use it to get access to associated resources. So, so that means as far as we have the authorization token, access token from google.com for our Google images, this token they have to give. So usually I think they will ask for to create an API and provide us this token. So we need to give this token in our bearer request. So how do we do that? We need to create a header. So headers, authorization, and we need to give the type and token that we got from google.com or Facebook or whatever site we are trying to authenticate. So that token we need to pass. Here I'm hard coding that token and passing it with bearer, and pass that headers in the header uh, key value parameter. I think this would be enough to run. Just run and debug. It's reached here. Now we will see what we got in our response request object, paired object, and in that headers. If you see the stored values, you will see the authorization, the type is bearer, and our endpoint is for HTTP bin. uh, Cancel this. This is the bearer. Prompts the user for authorization using bearer authentication. So I'm just typing some bearer type and some random token. This should be ideally you should get from google.com or facebook.com. And if I run this, execute this, successful. So that's the same thing we are doing here too. Uh, Same endpoint, and we are passing the authorization token as header. So let's see what we got the response. We got the response as 200 successful. And what is the URL we called? We called the http bin.org bearer. That's all I want to cover in this video. We will see in the next video. Thank you for watching this video.